child's pose. We'll be here for a few minutes, as you know. And as our very first pose, you might need some support with the blanket. So for some of you, you might want a blanket underneath the tops of your feet to support your ankles here. Others of you might want the blanket between your glutes and your heels. Others of you might want to fold the blanket as you open your knees wide. So knees as wide as the mat, big toes together. Some of you might like the blanket underneath your chest, a blanket or pillow here. Some of you might just like it underneath your forehead. So find a position that works best for you to spend our first 3 minutes in child's pose. Again, knees as wide as the mat, big toes touching behind you. Your arms can be wherever they're comfortable. Maybe you're stacking your palms on top of each other. Maybe you want to stack your fists. Maybe you want your hands behind you and your forehead to the earth. Maybe you do want a pyramid at your third eye. But just find your sweet spot for your child's pose and then get comfy. There's no special breath pattern today. Just breathe however comes naturally to you. Root yourself into the earth. And our flow today is about spring. So the child's pose is like a seed. And these were the seeds that we buried in the winter that now it's time for them to sprout and grow into the spring. Spring is a time of growth and change, of regeneration, of creativity. And in Chinese philosophy, spring is linked to the liver and the liver meridian. So the liver meridian starts at our big toe and runs up along the front of the foot in front of the ankle and then inside our legs. It curls around the external genitalia and hits your liver and your gallbladder on your right side. And then it branches up into the long meridian and also ends up in your face and behind your eyes. So in child's pose, we're activating this long meridian. We've got the tops of the feet flat to the earth. We've got our legs open wide to stimulate our intergrowing here. And also, while you're in the child's pose, take a moment to play with your face. Open your eyes wide, open your mouth wide. Inhale and exhale, release. Shift your jaw from side to side. Introduce some movement into your face. No one can see you, your face is towards the earth. Stretch your face here while you're in our first yin position of child's pose. Again, this is the seed. We will grow and sprout into our spring practice. Make sure you're breathing. Now you can stay in your child's pose, but if you believe you have another edge, keep your knees wide the way that they are, and then lift your hips up so that you're standing on your knees. We can come into frog pose from here, or to the side so you can see me. So if you want more in your child's pose, lift your glutes off of your heels, open your heels so that your toes are wide, and then just walk your hands forward. Maybe you can get your chest all the way to the earth. Maybe it's just your forehead. So we're just shifting forward a little bit into frog pose. You can also stay in your child's pose. But again, if you want more in those hips, this is how we get it. Breathe. Again, there's no breathing pattern today. There's no rule of 4 breathing, there's no count, there's no mantra, there's no focus. Just let your thoughts do what they do. There's not even a need to chase your thoughts away. Just let them come, let them go, follow them if you like. I call it a butterfly meditation. I just follow my thoughts here, I follow them there, I come back to the present moment, I follow them there, I follow them here. Just breathe. Listen to your body. If at any point frog is too much, you can always shift back to child's pose. If you want more in the hips, you can spread your knees even wider. So if you're just joining us, you can join us in a child's pose. And for those of you who chose frog, we're coming out. You can always lean forward and come down onto your belly, or you can lean back and walk your hands up, come back to sitting on your heels. Do what's most comfortable for you, but ultimately we'll come back to sitting on our bottoms. So you might take a moment here to rock your hips from side to side, to bounce out your knees. Maybe create some heat with your hands and rub your knees. Send them some love. And our next pose is square pose. So in square pose, several variations here. You could just cross out your ankles for square pose. Ideally, we want both shins to be parallel and your thighs to be parallel. I mean, ideally. That doesn't happen for my body. You do what works for your body, but try to get those shins parallel to the mat. So maybe this is you right here. Maybe if this is too uncomfortable, you just want a regular cross-legged position. If you find that your hips are high, you can sit up on your blanket. So put the blanket right under your bottom, sit on the edge of it. It might tilt you forward and that might feel more comfortable. If you're sitting with the shins forward and you don't feel much in your hips, then I encourage you to take your left foot, flex the left foot, put it on top of your knee, then let the left knee float wherever it floats. If it's up here like mine, you can put a blanket underneath it, or you can just wait as you hold the pose and maybe you'll be able to relax into it and your knee and your ankle will touch. So find the position that works best for you. Again, you can always be in a simple cross-legged position. And we just want to breathe here. So I told you that the liver meridian represented spring, but all of the meridians have pairs. So the pair for the liver meridian is actually the gallbladder meridian. The gallbladder, of course, sits right underneath your liver. The gallbladder meridian, it zigzags a lot, but it also starts behind the eye, and then it zigzags across the face and across the torso, but ultimately it ends up running on the outside of our legs. So in this position, we're activating the liver inside our legs and also the gallbladder meridian outside if you're feeling it in the hips. So maybe you've noticed as I've been sitting here and talking, my knee is lowered a little bit. I've done no forcing, just breathing. For those of you that have another edge, you might be able to fold forward. So you'll take an inhale and then exhale, you might be able to fold forward. Again, find your edge. Go to the first place that you feel something and stop. Don't force yourself any further. If you're feeling it, you're doing it. I'm going to say that over and over today. If you're feeling it, you're doing it. If you're feeling tension in your knees, however, back off. Remember the principles of Yin. Find your edge, commit to stillness, and hold for time. If you like, you can try to Kachari Mudra, tip of the tongue to the back of the teeth. Other than that, just breathe. If you have another edge, you can take yourself a little further. For some of you, that might be your first fold. For some of you that are folded, that might mean you reach out a little bit more. Listen to your body, not to your ego. And then when you're ready, on an inhale, if you fold it, slowly walk your hands back in towards your body. If you didn't fold, go ahead and lean back and bring your hands back behind you. First, notice which leg is on top or in front, because we'll be switching. So look down and pay attention. For me, my left one is in front. Lean back, release the hips first, and then slowly release the legs. So some of you might bring that top foot flat to the earth, the other foot flat to the earth, knees up, and windshield wiper, if that feels good. Others of you might just want to bring the legs straight out, and again, bounce them out. Or maybe without the knees bent, rock from side to side. Again, maybe some tapping feels good on the knees. Maybe also on the thighs, hit that gallbladder meridian on the outside, liver meridian on the inside. Okay, so before we forget which leg is on top, let's switch. Again, shins as parallel as you can get them. Legs can be as far away or as close to the body as is comfortable for you. Again, you can sit up on that blanket. You can put that blanket or pillow if you've got a gap between your knee and your foot. Come to your first edge when you first feel something. For me, just sitting here, I can feel it in my outer hip, gallbladder meridian on the right side. And I'm just going to breathe and see if I have another edge on this side. So the liver and gallbladder meridians are pairs, but we're going to focus mostly on the liver today. The liver is responsible for harmony and balance throughout the entire body. When the liver and gallbladder are working well, we're able to recover our energy quickly. And we're both physically and mentally flexible. You can ask your body if you have another edge. For some of you, it might be leaning forward a little. For others, it might be reaching your hands forward. For others of you, you might just be sitting up where you are, and that is good enough. Whenever you feel the tension, send it breath. You can ask your body if you have another edge. Maybe you pull a little further, maybe you don't. If you fold it forward, slowly walk your hands back towards the body, one handprint at a time. Once everyone is seated upright again, bring your hands behind you. I like to point my fingers out to the side, but the fingers can be pointing behind you. The idea is to release the hips first. Lean back, release the hips, and then slowly and mindfully release the legs. This leg needs some help. There we go. Again, maybe windshield wiper, maybe bounce. Some people like a reverse tabletop. So you can point your fingers towards your bum and lift up if that feels good. Or just give your body whatever yang movements it wants right now. Our next pose is a straddle. So again, you might want to sit up on your blanket in your straddle. Tilt your hips forward. Open your legs as wide as they go. And you should start to feel this, again, in your liver meridian, inside your legs. So I don't have a whole lot of mobility here. So when my legs are open wide, I can put my hands behind me, prop myself up, and I'm good to go. I can feel this here. Others of you might be able to bring your hands in front, still, spine straight, feeling it here. Some of you might be able to fold any amount. Maybe you'll be able to get your chest down to the earth. For others, even this sitting up tall is going to be too much. So put your feet flat to the earth. Right? You can bring your feet flat to the earth. You can bring your hands in and let Bradley do his thing here. If you're next to a wall, you can open your legs so the soles of your feet are against the wall and you can put your hands against the wall. So find the position that works for you. Again, if you're feeling it, you're doing it. So wherever you feel it, it's where you want to hang out. And breathe. And again, I'll ask you if you have another edge, maybe at some point you'll go deeper. If not. The liver is also symbolic of our hopes and dreams. When the liver is functioning well, we have a greater ability to follow through. And imbalances in the liver meridian in particular suggest feelings of frustration, of being held back or derailed. Balancing our liver meridian can give us more balance in life in general. Remember, you are not stuck. Again, sharp shooting pains, you can always come out, you can always back off. And without contradiction, challenge yourself to hold a pose, commit to stillness, hold for time, breathe. Ask your body if you have another edge. Again, make sure your feet aren't flexed. Just surrender into the pose, not activating the muscles. We're actually trying to get past the muscles, into the connective tissues, into the fascia. If you fold it forward, slowly walk yourself back up. Straight spine. Again, lean back to release the hips first. And then slowly bend the knees, bring the legs back together. Bounce, rotate, reverse tabletop, windshield wipers. Just listen to your body. Whatever it wants here to help you transition, go ahead and give it. That was 4 minutes. That was our longest hold yet. I don't know if it felt like it to you or not. Okay, let's transition to dragons. Lots of dragon options here. Start on your hands and knees. A dragon is a low lunge, so you might need another blanket underneath your knees. I'm going to take one. From tabletop, step your left foot forward. Scoot your right knee, the knee that's on the earth, back as far as it comfortably goes. Scoot it back until you feel something, right? So it didn't go very far back for me before I felt something. And this is a baby dragon. So maybe you hang out right here with your hands framing your foot. If you've got blocks or books, you can put your hands on those. If you need the extra space. If you're not feeling anything here, then you could try a high flying dragon. You basically bring your palms to your knee, and that intensifies the stretch in front of your quad here. Some of you might want to try a low flying dragon, which means you walk your left foot out to the left. I can't see me. Okay. Walk the left foot out to the left to the edge of the mat, and then bring your hands inside. So find your dragon, the one that's calling to you. Commit to stillness. Maybe you start with a baby dragon, and when I ask if you have another edge, maybe you try the low flying dragon or the high flying dragon. Maybe you stay where you are. The dragons are pretty integral to Yin Yoga because they work all 6 of the meridian pairs in the lower body. So the heart is paired with the small intestines. The lung is paired with the large intestines. The kidney is paired with the urinary bladder. The stomach is paired with the spleen. And of course, the liver is paired with the gallbladder. And halfway through, you can ask your body if it has another edge. Some of you might even be able to, in a low flying dragon, bring your elbows down to the mat or down to blocks. That's not available to me, but if it is to you, it's an option. Keep breathing. Almost there. It's amazing what the body will do if we give it a chance to open up its own time and its own pace. And to transition out of your dragon, if you walked your left foot out to the left, walk it back in so that you can frame your foot. If you were in high flying dragon, your hands were on your knees, come back down to frame your foot. You can either tuck your back toes and come up to down dog to transition out, or from the dragon, you can just step the knee back so that your knees are in alignment. Maybe you take a few cat cows, maybe you rock your hips from side to side. If you came up to down dog, you can come down and hit a child's pose if that feels good. So do what works for your body. Next, we're coming to swan. So if you're still in down dog, you can stay. So if you're in down dog, if you want to transition to swan from here, you just pick up your left foot and then you bring your left knee up towards your left wrist and parallel your shin to the top of the mat. If you're in tabletop, it still works the same. Just bring that left knee up towards your left wrist, parallel your shin, walk your back foot back. And then my foot always wants to come into the groin, and that's fine. Like, let that front foot come wherever it's comfortable. And this is swan. Now try not to roll over to one side or the other. Stay up on your knee. Again, if you've got that blanket nearby, you might put it underneath your knee. Might give you a little more padding there. And maybe you stay propped up here in swan the entire time. If you want a little bit more of a back bend, you can walk your hands so they're even with your hips. This is goals for me in life. I can't really do that. Some of you might be able to. Some of you might even be able to interlace your hands behind your back if you want that. Others of you might want to put your swan to sleep. So if you want to put your swan to sleep, you can come down to your elbows. You can make a pillow with your hands. You can rest your forehead on your hands or on the earth. We won't be here as long. I love Yin Yoga because it gives me an opportunity to sit with myself. Sometimes I feel the benefits immediately in the practice. Sometimes it takes a couple hours, sometimes it takes a couple days, but the good part always shows up. Keep breathing. If you put your swan to sleep, rise. If you've got your hands by your hips, or if you interlace your hands behind your back, bring your hands slightly in front. Again, to transition out of this pose, you can always rock over to the side if you like, or you can tuck that back toe again, lift back up to down dog. Maybe you shake out the folded leg. You can also be in tabletop, rocking your hips from side to side. Give your body whatever it wants here. Whenever you're ready, we'll hit the other side. So again, if you want to transition from down dog, lift your right foot this time. Right foot comes up in the air. Step it through for a lunge. If you're in tabletop, again, just step that right foot through from a lunge. Also known as a dragon. Maybe this is you, baby dragon. Maybe you want the high flying dragon. Maybe you walk that right foot out to the right, hands inside. The low flying dragon. Pick the toes up on that left foot, scoop your knee back until you feel something. Find your first edge. The physical liver, not the philosophical liver, cleanses the body and removes toxins. So the liver is responsible for guiding energy through the body. And if the liver is imbalanced, you might find yourself more prone to anger. So when we activate the philosophical liver in the liver meridian, releasing anger or emotions we no longer need can be purifying. It can be a release of toxins. We also activate the liver meridian so that our anger can instruct us. Sometimes anger is instructive, sometimes it's productive. It lets us know when we are being under-benefited in relationships and situations. So activating our liver meridian can be purifying in lots of ways. Breathe. Try your best to surrender into the pose, release any tension. Breathe to these spots that are talking back to you. Ask your body if it has another edge. Maybe that means transitioning to a different type of dragon. Maybe it means bringing your elbows down to a block or to the floor. If you're in high flying dragon, bring your hands back to frame your foot. Low flying dragon, walk that foot back in so that your hands frame your foot. Again, you can just bring your knee back to tabletop, or you could tuck that back toe, lift the leg up, and come to down dog. Shake it out or rock your hips from side to side. Whatever feels good, maybe you want child pose. Whatever movement your body needs here. And if you want to transition to your swan from down dog, again, lift that right leg up to the sky. The right knee comes to the right wrist, shin parallel-ish to the front of your mat. Pick up that back leg, walk the knee back. If the foot wants to come in, let it come in. If you're on your knees, again, just bring your right knee up to your right wrist. Same, parallel to the front of the mat. Again, maybe the hands are by your hips. Maybe they're interlaced behind your back if you want the back bend. Maybe you put your swan to sleep. Elbows, forearms, down to the mat. Maybe your forehead comes to your arms. Maybe your forehead comes to the mat. Again, this is inner and outer legs, liver and gallbladder clear. Breathe. Remember not to lean to the side in this pose. Stay up on your knee. Keep your hips even. Rise from your sleeping swan. If you didn't fold, prepare for your transition. Again, you can tuck the back toe, come to down dog, or you can lean off to the side. Release your legs. You can groan, make any noises that your body needs to make. Okay. I don't know about you, my legs are feeling it. Our next pose is deer pose. So if you're in down dog, come down when you're ready. We come into deer by starting in a brief butterfly. So soles of the feet together. Then we'll take the left foot and bring the left heel next to the glute so that the knee is pointing forward. And this is a deer pose. And you can keep the gap here if you like. The goal is to keep both sits bones on the earth if you can. So maybe this is you right here. I like to bring my heel a little closer to my knee. I like to have a tighter deer, but it's open. It's up to you whether you want open or closed. Maybe you just chill right here with your hands on your knees in your deer pose. Others of you might take that blanket. The side that's away from the bent knee, you might twist. So if your left knee is bent, you could twist, open to the right. Some of you might want to fold down and twist. But if your hip comes up too high off of the earth, then you can just twist with your torso and not fold. So find your sweet spot, but you don't have to twist at all. You can stay centered. Again, we're working on inside groin. You might also feel it on the outside of this hip of the bent leg. We won't be here as long. Spring is also represented by wood in Chinese philosophy. Wood energy is very expansive, as you can imagine, also associated with growth, development. Wood is filled with potential, swells and rises to present us with opportunities to live our best lives. Also known as opportunities for growth and change and goal setting and productivity and youthfulness. Keep breathing. Prepare to release. Again, lean back. Release the hips first. Windshield wipers might be really good here. And then we'll get right into that other side. Again, you can start from butterfly. Take that right foot back, bend the right knee, right heel next to the right glute. Decide if you like the opening or if you want to bring the front heel closer to the knee. Decide if you want a twist. Decide if you want fold. Find your edge. Spring also reminds us that just like a seed that's starting to sprout, sometimes it feels like it gets a little stuck, or there's some resistance and it tries to push to the earth. It just reminds us that spring also brings us challenges. The process takes as long as it takes. Breathe. Slowly release. Lean back. Release the hips. Windshield wiper. Reverse tabletop. Bounce your legs. Whatever feels good. We'll do our last push here, a supine butterfly before we rest. So when you're ready, come down onto your back. Soles of the feet together gives us a very basic supine butterfly. If you want more, you can cross at the ankles. That's not for me today, but some of you might like that. It's a big opening in the inner groin there. If you want to stretch in your side body, you can bring your arms up overhead and clasp opposite elbows. Just open yourself up. The last big push here, the liver meridian inside our legs, the gallbladder meridian on the outside of our hips. Keep interlace and cross opposite elbows, bring your arms down by your sides. Some of you can just stretch your diamonds out. Others like me might need to put your hands underneath your legs. Bring the knees together first. Then stretch the legs out. Final pose, Shavasana, nice long rest. Your hands can be down by your sides for grounding, palms up for receiving, one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. And I can't help myself. Some of you can return to your comedic yoga pyramid, right hand right underneath your sternum between your rib cage, left hand on top, pads of the thumbs touching. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable in your space and rest. Start to deepen your breath and bring your awareness back into the body. Maybe you rock your head from side to side, rock your hips from side to side. Release your hands and rotate your wrists and your ankles. Squeeze your knees into your chest. Rock side to side on the low back. And then rock over to your left side, your yin side. Pause for a moment for a full round of breath. And then when you're ready, push yourself back up to seated. I hope that you all feel appropriately inspired for spring. Thank you for practicing the special Ebony Equinox version with me.